Steep hill. Oh, there goes the cam. Holy crap, I can feel it right there. What a difference with no exhaust leak. Wow. Speedometer is kind of slow, so slow to read. Like right here, it's pull it. Right off camera, I did the in play. I set it at 5, okay, which I like. I like to be a little on the loose side. It's right in between 4 and 5, actually 4.5. If I'm too tight, I found that ends up being a disaster. So, like, if you're at dead tight 3, maybe you're gonna have some problems. So, 4 is a nice number. 5 is good. Some guys even go to 6. And I know that's out of spec, but that's what some guys do. So anyway, this thing's on here. I got the stale airs on here. I'm going to go with the stale air boxes just because I have some. Figured I better use them. It has all the proper cooling stuff for this engine. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. I have the right tin and I have the right fan shroud for that. So that's what we're going with. And then I got a generator, alternator stand on here, but I might just put the generator from the 1776 back there. I'm going to probably put that on here just so I can have it all buttoned up and ready to just put in the car. May go with the 009. I do have a old big distributor. Could change it over to that. I got to finish the pulley up. A flange exhaust. This is going to have flange exhaust on it. So I'm going to do that, finish that up real quick. I had to weld a couple items up here. This thing was coming loose and this thing was loose. So I don't want that. So anyway, we'll get her done. All right, guys, we're just about ready to go in. I've just been doing little by little here. I got these stickers. So this goes upside down, believe it or not. I'm going to put that on. Let's see. All right. I think about right there. Good enough. Since I've repainted the coil. All right, so let's put this one on. It's not the correct stickers, but sure does look better with stickers on it, doesn't it? We're going to put the stock air cleaner on here, so that'll look good. And it's even got the little diagram. Ooh, this was in a bus. And then I got this guy here sneaking into the photo. So anyway, got to put oil in it. I got to put the fuel pump on. I guess I'm going to put, or the fuel filter. I think this is the right way. Usually there's an arrow. I'm going to guess that that's the right way. I don't usually use these kind of fuel pumps. But I got this one for free, so this is brand new. Well, I didn't get it for free. I mean, I bought a bunch of parts and it was in the pile. So there we go. So I'll put my hose clamps on. What else am I missing? I got my fuel line on. I'm going to put a little piece of hose on here. I've got this clamp on there so this won't slide out. It's one of the issues you have with these engines. And this is a pointless that's on here. Don't have to worry about that. Got the belt on, the Continental. They only sell the 10s now, 10 905s. The 995s work better, but this one seems to work better with the 10. So anyway, there was this carburetor was on the 1776 that I had in the bus, and somebody had drilled the main jet out. It was marked a 120, and it was drilled out to 140. So I wonder why that bus always ran rich. That's probably why. So anyway, we put the proper, I tried with a 125. I think that's going to be about right for 40 horse, powered up 40 horse, 122, 125, 127 and a half, somewhere in there usually. Maybe a 130, I doubt it. I got to fix the vacuum leak there. We'll get it done. Nine millimeter. It's kind of 3/8. Okay. Fuel line's off and vice gripped. I pulled this out. The throttle cable, always a good idea. All right, well, the 6-volt starter in bushing, I hope this one works. I think it's the one I took out of here, actually. When we put this 1600 in here, and this is all opened up, so if somebody ever wants to put a bigger engine in it, it won't be hard for them to do. Just got to change the starter bushing. And I got the clutch on, and that thing slides in and out real easy, so it should be all right. There's my fuel line. I was going to change some other fuel line on it once I get the engine in. All right, so everything's hooked up there. Bulb check. Yep. All right, no plugs in it. How long do you guys think it's going to take for it to build oil pressure? With a 26 millimeter pump and no lines, I'm going to say 3 seconds. What do you guys think? Here we go. Oh, a little longer. A little longer. Oh, there it goes. So that was oil pressure right there. It's got oil pressure. All right. So, you heard it go a little faster too. I figured 3 to 5 seconds was what my first thought was. I thought it'd say 3 just for you guys. I don't know. But it shouldn't take very long. All you need is those 2 gears. That's only with 1 drop of oil on the gears. That's it. That's all it takes. The last set of Bosch plugs from the stash. So this is the end of it here. Let's put these in. I already took the ends off of them, those little things there. All right, again, we're on 6 volts, so this thing's gonna crank over quick. Let's we got the plugs in now. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's just right there. Oh, well, help if I hook the throttle cable. I guess I better do that. All right, so we got the throttle cable. Haven't brought the fuel up yet, I don't think. I don't know if the timing's even right. Sounded like it was when it was done. Got something in there now. I don't know if their timing's even close, but we'll find out in a second, huh? Oh, exhaust is not leaking at all. Is it in gear? I don't think so. Oh. I'll tighten that up and see if it doesn't sound so terrible. I just went with the timing from where it was set. I just pulled the 8mm thing out with the bracket and the distributor out of another engine. Well, that's better. See if we have any oil leaks or anything. We gotta break it in. Check the timing real quick. Sounds pretty good. There's no vacuum there. Very far off at all. 1 or 2 degrees maybe. In neutral. Clutch is pretty close. I didn't adjust it yet. Sounded pretty darn good. The pea shooters don't sound too squeaky. Well, we gotta check the timing. We might be advanced. Anything. Not started. Let me make it up. I'll run it for 20 minutes. I'll bring you back in. Alright guys, it's been on over 20 minutes now, so my long screwdriver for that. But I forgot to put on the choke wire, so it's still warming up. On the exhaust leak, it sounds great. And this thing might run it up a little bit more. I need the long screwdriver for that. Alright, see how far off the idle mixture is. I don't know. There's a drop. Oh yeah, idle jet's pretty close. Right there. Down a little better. The 30-31s, they work good, but this is 30 on here. That'll help. I can put a 28 back on. Intermediate might be a little rich, a little lean, I don't know. So it's got a little more lope than the stock 40. Remember, we don't have a retarded number 3. And that's how it sounds, so the Stock 40 will sound a little lowier because it's got the retarded number 3. We don't have that now. I'm going to say she's running pretty good. I got it at 30 degrees total advance. Find out if it's pinged. I don't think it will. Gotta fix the exhaust leak. I don't know what that's. Probably gotta take that whole pin off and retighten the bolt. Gonna clean up that air cleaner and put it on here. And this looks more appropriate. I didn't like the look of that, you know, air cleaner on here and stuff. You know, somebody could. I figured somebody could do one of two things. Either they're gonna just drive this thing like the way it is and be totally happy, or somebody's gonna take this motor out, lower it, put wheels on it, which I would think would be pretty stupid because the front end on this thing is amazing. It's just not really the car for that, but if somebody wants to do that, that's up to them. So anyway, I guess we can go for a drive. Let's do that. Well, the exhaust leak is about as irritating as you can get, but anyway. This thing drives great. I just barely got in it. First real. It's a nice even power. Definitely has a lot more than my 36. The 36, you know, my clutch is definitely in the wrong place. Got to do some, and she's still wanting to stall, so I thought it might. Gotta check that intermediate jet, see. This thing is super nice and torquey though. For a 40. It's going up this hill. There's no way. This thing is quick. For a 40, it is. I mean, what a difference. Wow. It's totally drivable. I mean, it feels a lot like a 1500. That cam really made a difference. When I see a whole bunch of guys going home and splitting the cases and replacing their cams on their 40s, man, I mean, this, you got a stock 40 and you don't want to mess with it, man. Put one of those W100 from I mean, it's nothing like the 1600, you guys. That thing is extremely fast for a 1600 single. So but it's a nice amount of power and it's so smooth. And it certainly makes me feel better when, you know, somebody buys it or whatever that's not going to have some oil pressure problem. Definitely need to adjust that clutch. Boy, it is way too low. And I can really tell the 180. I'm used to 200s. Now, you guys, this is a pretty steep hill. Oh, there goes the cam. Holy crap, I can feel it right there. You can really feel it pull at about 40. But the heads kind of take it back a little bit. It just doesn't want, it won't go any more than that. You could feel that cam curve kick in, man. It was like, what a difference. The 180 will keep you from breaking the crank. But it grips fine. It's actually beautiful. Man, what a nice driver. Just got to get rid of all the noise. the irritating exhaust leak and get the clutch fixed. I think that's what we're going to do next here. Fix the clutch. Whoa, there goes the cam. Whoa, between 40 and 45, you can really feel it. It just starts to pull. So it does bring some top end in. Maybe with one of those extractors on here, it would help. Definitely brings a little more top end. Got some idiot doing something. I don't know what they're doing. Stopping in the middle of the road. Let's feel it again. Woo! Whoa! Man, the cam wants to rev this thing up. So it probably could use a little bit more exhaust. Might help it out a bit. Because it gets a little more top end than I expected. Stock 40 won't do that. As soon as it hits 40, it just flattens. About 45, it just flatten out. This thing starts to pull. Right around 40, you can feel it all of a sudden kick in. Whoa, this thing's nice. Heck yeah, this is great. Man, this thing's close to 50 horse. I'd say it moves out. It's beautiful. And then you can lug it way down really low and it still has power. Super smooth. Nice feel. It's a great car now. I mean, the front end on this thing is amazing. The body looks great. I mean, the car looks so nice. It just had to have a decent engine in it. Wow. And once I get rid of that exhaust leak, you probably will hardly even hear the engine. So quiet. A lot quieter than the 1600. And the thing that bugged me about the 1600 is whenever I went up the driveway up here, it would just scrape the exhaust. Stuff like that bugs me. I don't like it. So it would have to be changed. I just didn't like that. Those single quiets were great, but God, you had to bend them and get them up out of the way because they always rub the ground. And you're always pulling off your extractor. Having trouble shifting because of the clutch is too far out. Otherwise, the shifter's perfect. What a smooth feel. Just a really even power band all the way through, nice and strong. Really nice, guys. I'll bring you back in. We're going to do some adjustments and maybe we'll go for another drive. All right, guys. So the low end power on this thing is unchanged. It's actually a little bit stronger on the low end. A lot of people think, you put a cam in, it's going to take away from the bottom end. It didn't do that at all. It brought in a little more on the bottom. It has a real steady power. And then when you hit the real top end, like I'm saying it's close to 4,000, 4,200, it starts to pull even harder. So I'm surprised that it even has that much top end with that small intake port. So I'm pretty impressed with this build. I mean, the cam, these things need a cam. The cam, like I said, in every Volkswagen, there's just not enough duration. And that gives it just helps out the bottom end. People go, oh, well, it takes away, you lose torque. No, this thing's definitely got more torque on the bottom and definitely a lot more top end, more than I thought. So anyway, we'll do some more driving in here, but I just wanted to tell you guys about that because I'm super impressed with it. It definitely drives. Okay, it's nothing like the 16 single. You guys that drove in that rode in the other engine that had low oil pressure issues. I don't know what's wrong with it. We'll tear it apart and we'll look at it later. But that engine is a great combination. And I think, also remember I did port the exhaust a little bit. Maybe that just helps some flow at the top end on this thing. And it's just, it's the first time I've done a 40 like that. And it actually just, man, it's just a joy. It's just so even. The power is just like solid all the way through the RPMs. And then it starts to give you, and you get to the top end, you're like, oh, that's all it has. Okay, well, that's pretty good. But then all of a sudden you let it rev a little bit more and all of a sudden it starts to give you more. So it's kind of cool. It's like, I don't know if you ever ridden a Yamaha when they first came out, the 4-stroke quad. It was like you rev it up so high, and you're like, oh, this thing has pretty good power. Then all of a sudden you hit the top end and it just wheelies. Just all of a sudden, just the top end. So it's kind of like that. All of a sudden it starts to pull. So it's pretty neat. Right around 40 in third, right around 30, right around 30 in second. So it'll probably go up to like 36, 36, something like that. I'm not sure, in second. And that's more than they usually do. Usually they just top out at 30 and that's it. This one, all of a sudden, it just goes, oh, yeah, but wants to rev on up higher. So it's kind of cool. Really neat. But it unchanged. I mean, it didn't take away any of the bottom end. It's even better than stock. Cool. Hopefully you guys can hear this and listen to this piece of wickedness here. Man, that thing revs up nice. What a difference. The car feels really nice without the, it's just nice and quiet. I mean, it's no quick car or anything, but it's really a sleeper for what it is. I gotta clean it all now. I got all this goop all over it here. All right, let's check it out now. Let's see. What a difference with no exhaust leak. Wow. Just that little piece of metal with just a little tiny bit of it was pinched in there. Wow. The top end is way better. Oh my gosh. I never felt a 40 do that. See if you guys can feel it. I don't know. I'll have to get you guys into the speedometer here so you can see. Speedometer is kind of slow, so slow to read. Like right here, it's pulling. Going to fourth, I mean, this is a pretty good steep hill. I mean, my buses with the big motors in them, they barely do that going up this hill. They go a little faster than that, but not much, maybe 5 miles an hour, and that's it. This thing pulls great. God, what a nice driving car. I mean, the 16 single was nice. I mean, it really was. But this is just as nice. It's just different. It's really even feeling, and it's so quiet. Except when you hit that top end, all of a sudden it just starts to pull a little more. It's pretty crazy. Definitely the first time I ever done one of this to a 40 horse. I could pull a lot more juice out of it if it was a 1600, but since the parts didn't cost me much of anything, really, this was pretty cool. So if you had like a 40 in your car right now and it didn't need it wasn't in dire need of a rebuild, you could take it apart, go through it, freshen it up, put some new bearings in it, put a 26 millimeter oil pump in so you save the life of it, and then one of these cams like this, the ones from Brothers Machine Shop, the W100, and then 1600 rockers, and I'm going to tell you, you will notice the difference, and also the 1385. So it would probably cost around, I'm going to say $600 or $700 by the time you bought all the parts, which wouldn't be bad. A lot cheaper than upgrading the whole engine and freshen it up at the same time. Oh, what a nice driving car. And it's just so quiet. I don't know if you guys really notice that, but there is very little sound in here. Now it does have that 30, what is it? 3031, I don't know, one of those with the intermediate jet, so it does come down to idle a little slow. That's why it doesn't just come right down. You could leave a 28 on it. It wouldn't make really a lot of difference. Definitely a lot more fun than the 36 and my other one. I mean, usually a stock 40 and a stock 36, it's really hard to tell the difference between the power. They both are just slush buckets. They have, it's really an even low end power band, and it doesn't have any top end at all. This thing now has some top end, even with the stock extractor on there. I couldn't imagine this thing with maybe with another extractor it'd have a little bit more at the top end, I don't know, but it probably takes them away on the bottom, which I don't know if that would be so good. I'm not sure. It'd be fun to experiment with. What a joy. I mean, it just barrels up hills, nice. It doesn't attack them like the 1600 does. The 16 single, man, that thing just attacked hills. I mean, it didn't care. Again, that 16 single had a cam. It was way more power than the stock 16 single. So this thing runs like very similar to a stock 16 single or a 1500, kind of between the two. But it still sounds like kind of like a 40 horse. So it sounds that nice quiet 40 horse sound. So it's kind of unassuming. Definitely, this is fun. Let's see what it's like in the bottom end torque. Let's just throw it in third right here. Not bad. It's starting to pull. Once you get up around, I'd say around 1500, 1700 RPMs, it starts to pull. Versus the 40 horse, when it's at those low RPMs, it just does, it's like maintaining. It just kind of maintains. So, yeah, this thing really runs great. And I kind of like, just so you guys know, I kind of like, the reason I put the still air stuff on there I mean, you could put Cool10 on one of these if you didn't have it. But I think the Stale Air has a little bit better flow system. Okay, and that's why they had the fan with less blades on it. So I have a 1600 fan on this. So it's got way overkill oil cooling system to kind of cool down those thinner cylinders with the Stale Air. So I think that the fins on the 40 horse were further apart, and that was to give it a little more power. And what they did that, and then they had the Stale Air where everything's all wrapped all the way around everything, were to try and get airflow all the way around the cylinders. So it may have been why that they changed the other fan later. That's what I think, but that's just a guess, guys. Just from looking at it, looking at these things for this many years and over, seeing these cars, little things that have entered my head. Wow, there she goes. She's starting to pull now. Now with a different exhaust, maybe it would work better. I don't know. I think it's just, I love it the way it is. It doesn't scrape the ground. You know, it just has a nice feeling when you're driving it. Very cool. So anyway, I think we're going to leave it with this, guys. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. And I hope you guys enjoyed the content and the engine. And I really think that you guys would love this if you did this to your car. If you had a 40 and you didn't want to spend a lot of money and have a full rebuild, you could just add the pistons and cylinders, split the case, freshen it up, throw a bigger oil pump on it to save it so it'll last, and then put the cam in there. Cam, German reground lifters, that's all you need. Few $100s, you know, $700-800, something like that. Do it yourself, and you got yourself a nicer running car. I mean, just takes the slush bucket out of it all together. I mean, it's not quick or anything, but you know, stock 16 single is all right. They get around pretty good. Cool. All right, and anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe.